and you sort of branched into, so you've started working with designers and doing your own internal sorts of patterns as well. Do you want to sort of talk me through how that's evolved?
That was one of the things that we had to learn very quickly, of just how important it is to provide inspiration for customers, for knitters. So the first thing we did was we started knitting patterns, not designed for us, but things that we thought would work well with our wool. And one of our most successful has been this, which is the Hinterland shawl by
that's
Helen
gorgeous.
Stewart. So we would create a sample garment and tell people, just so that people could see the wool knitted up, and tell them where to get the pattern, and we create little kits for it.
Yeah.
And that
people like things to take away, don't they?
Yeah.
Particularly at a show.
Yeah.
They like a takeaway project, really.
Yeah. And another very, very successful one is this, which is the Growing Ivy scarf.
Oh, this is fabulous.
Yeah, it's lush. Yeah. This is by a Japanese.
It's my favorite.
Ayano Tanaka. And then we started to get in touch with designers. And one of our favorites, and whom we've worked that one, is Jeanette of Jeanette Knits. And Jeanette's now designed two garments for us. This is the most recent, the Barbary cardigan. Well, sweater.
You launched, which show did you launch that at? Was that Unravel?
Unravel in February, yes. That was actually our biggest stand, and it was our cleanest. So we had the new wine display, the wine display unit, and then we wanted to just have some statement garments, of which this was one, and that worked extremely well.
So that's our new strategy, actually, is to really focus on statement pieces and colour work. This is a beautiful hat.
That hat
I designed.
That's your pattern, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'm not sure there'll be many more unique designs, but that was fun.
They're harder to do than people think, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Yes. And it takes a lot of time to create a pattern. I really admire all those knitwear designers.
It does.
So time consuming. But yeah, that was very popular.
I know, because we do our socks, and you know, I work with the tech editor Helen, but it's still quite a process. Between the two of us. Right.
We have actually supported the Japanese designer who did this. She's working on something now for us in our, well, at least in our wool, and
in this colour.
We think that might be available around Unravel in February, maybe.
It's being worked on.
It's being worked on.
I'm planning to be there at Unravel in February, but probably from a Stitches and Cream perspective, doing the sock and the flock, not taking loads of yarn. It's just the sock and flock community stuff.
Yeah, that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
This summer, we have deliberately been going with many more colours. This is absolutely amazing. I just have to say, Lisa has only been knitting since we started this company, and she's chosen Guy Gilpin. Show the swatch.
I have a story about this, actually, because
look at it.
I was knitting one of these hats. You see this? And this is Forplan. I was knitting it in DK, and we came to the weight test at the end of the project. And the weight test, I went over the required grams, because it should be 50, and I think it was 54. And Linda decided that I'd done something fundamentally wrong with the way that I'd knitted the hat, and therefore I probably wasn't even a beginner's knitter. So I retired from knitting for a while because my confidence took a little bit of a dip. I had a research when I met this lady at the stockist in Richmond who was talking about Guy Gilpin. So I decided to create a swatch.
Look at this.
Which
Hi, and you're a beginner knitter.
I'm a beginner knitter, and I quite like the swatch. So the reason why I did the swatch was obviously to get my gauge, but also to test out the different color combinations, which you can see there.
That is fabulous.
And what I decided, I love the bottom. I don't know if you can see it, but the bottom is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Not my knitting, it's just the color combinations that you get.
But your knitting is
Um,
it's perfect.
But what I decided from my
Perfect.
was to change the colors. So I thought this is the River Time. I thought that would pop a bit more on the natural base, but it's not popping enough for me. So I'm going to change the River Time to the Island Dusk and make a different change up
Yeah.
here. And then I'm going to, it's not a jumper, it's a
It's
a
a-
vest.
It's a vest, but it's a very loose vest.
Whose design is it? Is it your
Uh,
design then?
No, Di Gilpin.
Is it called, what was it called?
Lyra or
Lyra
Lyra.
Lyra vest.
Yes, I've seen. I went to Woolly Good Gathering and had a good
Did
chat
you?
with Di because we are looking at stocking her in the autumn.
Yeah.
I
Ah,
haven't during the summer, but I
yeah,
would like to stock her yarn. And
Yeah.
I did look at all her samples and they were fabulous.
really lovely. And I did, when I was looking at the pattern, I did check her website and she has stopped doing one of the colors in this particular design. So I feel, I mean, it looks, I think the colors of our yarn look really good.
And it's not only that, I
terms of
mean,
Yeah.
Lisa is now, she's split for the armholes and it's a
I'm on my
pattern.
way up.
I realized I'd never done a jumper from bottom up,
Mm.
but we're learning. But she split the armholes and now it's knit flat and she's knitting up the back
Or
part.
circulars. yeah.
It just looks fantastic.
Amazing. So
But-
that we'll see that on a stand soon, will we?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
absolutely.
hoping that it might be Unravel in September. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm aiming for. Even if I can just get the back done, it should be ready.
Even
for
if it's a
September.
work in progress, it'll be there. And then I started quite an interesting pattern. It's an Isabel Kramer. It's called SSP shawl, and that's
Mm.
Slip Stitch Party. And it's
Oh
really,
yeah.
it's really good because it'll use multicolors, but it's only ever using one color in
The
each.
mosaic knitting.
Yeah, and
Beautiful.
the slip
Yeah.
stitching is giving all the pattern. So I'm enjoying that. Oh, and I think
Oh yes, you could.
I've
Shall I get
got,
it?
yeah, the Portalo Cull. I did my version of that. I'm still to
Oh yes, of
I'm still
course,
to do the
yeah,
stitching of
Nikki's
it.
pattern.
Yeah. I was very pleased with it. It's going to be lovely and warm, that's for sure. But
Yes.
this is my version.
Oh, lovely.
I
It's
just have to
so
join
glorious.
up.
It's such a lovely pattern.
Isn't
Yeah,
it?
Oh, that's lovely.
it's an interesting.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
was lovely in your yarn.
Yeah. So I'm pleased with that, but that'll be also on display. So we're getting a little more adventurous with color
Yes.
combinations, really is the message.
And inspiration as well, because we've recognised we've probably been a little bit slow on that, but we've really recognised the need to provide lots of more knitting inspiration, definitely on the stands we have in the past, and to keep rotating that inspiration.
Yeah, because I think that draws people in, doesn't it? I think they look at the samples, and I know in the shop it's the same. If we've got samples up,
Yeah.
people ask about, they ask if they can buy the sample, and you're like, no, I'm really sorry. So many times we say that.
No.
But also it's then they'll say, well, actually, no, I think I can have a go at that, and then they'll buy that sweater quantity of yarn.
Yes, that's why we felt
project.
our stand at Unravel in February worked so well for
It
us.
did. It was
didn't
the biggest stand we've had.
People could actually come on for once,
Yeah.
get onto the stand and just look at the garments and then look at the wool, which worked really
Yeah,
well.
because I think until people see your wool and
Yeah.
see it knitted up, they don't appreciate how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
If you just see it in a big stand of other wools, you might not appreciate how stunning it is when it's
Yeah.
actually knitted up.
Our next show, we are breaking into Scotland.
Mm.
So we've never
Going home.
Going home, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Our next show is the Scottish Yarn Festival in Perth, which it's just one day this year, but usually it's two. But we think it's
a big show.
It's a big show, and we've had such good feedback from others that we really wanted to get in there. So luckily we have.
Yeah.
And then the
I'll
next,
be interested to find out how you find that, because again, that might be one I think about for the flock and sock next
Yeah,
year.
I get the
Yes.
impression that it has quite a few overseas visitors that are doing the tour of Scotland and also taking that show, I
Yeah.
think. So we'll see.
Yeah.
the
Unravel.
Scottish wool scene seems to be um, on the up, you know, ever since the Edinburgh Yarn Festival decided no more. I think it's been needing something, and there are quite a few shows up there now that I think are high standard. But anyway, we're going to go to Perth. After that, we are at Unravel, autumn.
Which will probably be a heat wave again.
I know. And then
Oh, it was terrible last year, wasn't it? It was
was.
mid-30s.
I
I've never melted so much
I
in my life.
this woolly beanie on heads, and it's 30 degrees. After
Oh.
that, we are at Alexandra Palace.
Yeah.
That
4
was
days.
that was a great show for us last
Yeah.
year.
James,
Yeah. That's a super show. And then we're back in Scotland, in Glasgow, at the Glasgow School of Yarn. And then we'll
So
be
quite a bit on the road.
yes.
yes,
Yes.
and back to, well, we don't know. We
We
hope
won't, yeah,
Unravel.
that's it. We hope Unravel February.
We
We
hope.
won't know yet.
we won't know.
Have they opened up applications for
They
the
have.
February one?
Only just.
Yeah, only just. Yeah. So we know, I think
I
we
need to apply.
Yeah.
it's got quite a short deadline.
Yes.
On it.
Okay. Right. I need to, yeah, I'll make a note and do it. When is the deadline?
5th of August. So
You've only
have
got
to
a few
get in
days,
there.
Jane.
Wow. Right. Okay. Okay.
And then there'll be
I
more,
will get on and do that.
yeah, there'll be more as things open up for applications during 2025.
Yeah. So I think we've changed our strategy a little bit with shows. So we tried out every single show basically when we first started the business, and we were going all over the place, weren't we? And going to some of the much smaller shows. But what we've now decided to do is have bigger stands at the bigger shows, so that we can really show up our garments and cut down on the volume.
I think that's wise.
Yeah, so that's our strategy now. So, but we're still doing a lot of them.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
love them. We really,
They're exhausting, aren't they?
yeah, we love meeting. So
They're lovely for meeting people and interacting with people, but they are exhausting too.
yeah, they are. Yeah, but we really enjoy chatting.
Yeah.
That's our best time. Yeah.
Yeah. Chat.
Yeah, and I know you stock us, that you're stocked with us, but where else stocks you so people could go and see it?
So we are currently stocked at Knit With Me in Richmond, and
In
that's
London.
owned by Carol. It is lovely. And then Fine
Fine Fettle
Fibres.
Fibres.
Petal fibres.
in Northumberland as well. And our strategy with stores is that we really only want to be listed in stores that share the same values that we do. So
Yeah.
that's why we have at the moment quite a limited store base, but we love working with stores.
And our
love working
and
with
our,
Jane.
our
You're
weaver
great to work with too.
our weaver friends,
Yes,
Tabby and
Tabby and
Tweed,
Tweed.
they've been using a lot of our
Yes, they
yarn
have. Yeah.
in their they have a beautiful tabletop rigid heddle loom, and they've been using our yarn in their workshops
Mhm.
and in their kits.
Which is the colours that
And Gillian there has a
She's
special
really-
eye for colour and has been putting some combinations together that we didn't think about.
you see this colour combination here? It's a real quite poppy colour.
That's the colour combination I've got too, with
Right,
your
okay, it's
natural
a
grey.
very popular colour combination by designers, I have to say. And so that's the Claret, the Island Dusk, and the Lazy Hazy, but they really do pop those three colours. And that's what Tabby and Tweed have been
Yeah.
using a lot of.
Oh no, I might not have Lazy Hazy actually. Mine might be Time.
Okay, yeah, I think that would work equally
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
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 Yeah. I think that's mine, and I've got the natural grey, and I'm going to be doing a shawl pattern in that, and we'll see what that looks like in the
Yeah.
autumn. But certainly that's my plan.
The seasonal hat.
Oh,
aren't
I'm
you?
thinking of doing a seasonal version of this. So it's not Christmas, but it's
It will
winter.
before we know
Bottle
it.
green and shepherd's delight.
Well, we launched our Advents on Sunday, and it was a real, you know what it's like in this business. It's when you do these things, and so many fabulous designers have Advents, don't they? And, you know, I bought them myself, and we launched ours. So that most of them seem to launch them in sort of February, March time. And I was like, should we do it then? And I was like, no, we're going to wait. And we did it on Sunday, and it was like one of the hottest days of the year. I'm thinking, I'm talking about Christmas. But we've done amazingly well. We've only got a limited amount, and ours are quite different. They're not loads of minis or anything. We're doing something quite different this year. And so I was quite surprised that when we launched it at 6 o'clock on Sunday evening, you know, so many people were just waiting to buy it. But it was just like, what am I doing? It's the hottest day of July, and I'm talking about Christmas.
We're both knitting in DK at the moment, so you can imagine we've got the weight of the on your lap and it's 30 degrees, but we've decided that's the strategy moving forward, is we have to knit out a season to be ready for the season. So hopefully we'll be ready for
you do you know, you do, and you know, you end up not knitting for you, do you? You knit for your business. And fortunately for me, I just enjoy the process of knitting. But it can become a bit of a chore sometimes, but you know, unfortunately I'm always sort of thinking I enjoy the process of knitting. So it's sort of over sort of compensates for the fact that sometimes you're sort of feeling, oh God, I've got to get this knitted in time for X. Well, it's been so lovely to chat both.
And you, Jen.
And anybody that hasn't tried your yarn, they really don't know what they're missing, because it is absolutely fabulous. It's fabulous to work with. It's fabulous when it's blocked. It does beautiful colour work, and it's just really classy quality yarn, and it produces a really quality, beautiful product which people will keep for years and years and years.